This is Nick. I'm at Acton Custom, little cottage industry tucked in the woods in Holderness, New Hampshire. We specialize here in the Shelby Cobras. We also do a lot of other custom metal. This is one of my favorite brands. This is a contemporary, long been out of business from Mamaroneck, New York. Do a very high quality recreation of the Cobra, and we do a lot of neat little parts and pieces for them. Alright, we've just walked inside the shop and I'm with a Superformance replica of the Cobra. It's a factory made car built in South Africa under license to Shelby American. It's built alongside the modern Shelbys that they build. This car's in for the spring here in New England, so it's the season for looking our cars over, making sure they're safe, good to go. Brakes, steering, all the safety and suspension systems in the car already. This car, we've got a couple of little items on his springtime punch list, and we've just put a new windshield in the car, and we're doing a little bit of a look over for some oil leaks and suspension brakes and steering. Under the hood of this beauty there's a dual quad 427 FE engine in this car, so it's the big block Ford motor. This has got some nice touches on it, the original style Stellings and Hellings air cleaners. It's got a polished expansion tank, the same sort of tank they used back in the Galaxies, but a modern version made in stainless instead of brass. This thing's a absolute phenomenal performance car, with the dual quad carburetors really feeding the breathing on this big block motor. So this is, again, nicely set up with safety features. It's got a onboard fire system in the car, and some other neat little pieces like that on it. So we're still looking at the Superformance car here. This thing is a very nicely put together factory built car. We've just put the new windshield in it. We've put a new side curtain into the car, and you can see that this one's all set up as an all-weather vehicle. This has a heater inside it. It's got the fitted hardtop to the car. It also has the soft top, and I mentioned already the side curtains for the doors. So they can be a fairly practical, fairly long season vehicle for even around here in the New England weather. Stainless steel on the bumpers and that kind of thing, and all the other bright work on the car is chromed and looking pretty. Alright, what we're looking at here is the 3-inch tube frame with the leaf spring suspension, and this is all built exact as the 289, 260 early Cobras, and this is all built on the original frame with a backbone or a ladder frame behind it to stiffen it up and make this one of 6 bodies that was the car that won the manufacturer's championship in 1965. First American car with an American driver to win an international race. The originals of these cars are now somewhere around $15 million. This is an absolutely gorgeous recreation, very exact. This will be all eligible for vintage racing and FIA requirements when we're finished with it. The body's handmade in Poland. The whole frame was handmade in Poland. There's about 3,000 man-hours into that, and the car shipped directly from Poland to me, and what we're doing is we're turning it all into a complete and running vehicle. The panels, the nose of the car is behind me here, you might be able to see. All the panels on the car are in a bare metal finish, as you can see right now, and the body gaps on the car and the metal work and metal finishing is absolutely gorgeous, and so we're giving it the detail and the treatment it deserves with all the correct drivetrain in the car. The motor is, as you can see, it's a fully Webered with Italian sandcast Webers. It's a Webered small block motor. This thing's been built and dynoed, actually locally here in Massachusetts, and this motor is producing 526 horsepower on a dynamometer right now. So this is a screaming small block car, and it's so light with the aluminum bodywork I could just about pick up one end of this car by myself at this point. Been having a lot of fun putting this together with old school, you know, anything, any of the fittings, any of the connections, any of the hardware. It's all safety wired like an old race car, which is what this car is. And any of the hardware, we stay away from the red and blue anodized, the silver braided and that kind of thing. So brake lines are black, fittings are brass, fittings are plated steel, that kind of stuff. So we've been having a lot of fun with this car, making it really look like a 1960s car or the 50-year-old treasure that it is replicating. So this is a pretty good view of the Daytona Coupe, considering that it's a little bit like an E-Type Jag and half of the front end is gone from the car just by removing the nose. This, you can see a little bit of the beautiful design of this car. I'm in regular touch with the man that actually designed this, Peter Brock, and we've talked back and forth quite a little bit about this project, and I think he's enjoying it almost as much as I am. Yeah, as I said, one of the 6 Daytona Coupes that they built, and this was really the car that made history for Shelby American, with a car that was built back in the day. They put these cars together in a 90-day time frame and had this thing out on the racetrack winning races. So some phenomenal racing statistics, racing history from an amazing looking car. As crazy as I am about these cars, of course I've got to have one of my own, but I think it's a little bit like the builder's house. This is the one that's unfinished on the rotisserie in the corner, but it's coming together pretty nicely lately. I've had some inspiration with the nice weather and a couple of rides in other people's cars. What you're looking at here is one of the Shelby Continuation Cars. So this is a Shelby numbered car. It's stamped into the suspension. It is recorded in the Shelby American Registry. And so this is a real Shelby Cobra, but this is one of his new ones. As I said, a continuation car. I've been fixing this up from some accident damage. So there's a lot of pieces of new tube on the car that I've made and attached and aligned and all that kind of thing. One of the things I'm pretty pleased with that I made myself is this aluminum hood for the car. And I've just put this together in the last couple of weeks and hand fitted, all handmade, and aligned to the car with some really nice body gaps and that kind of thing. And you can see the way the curve and everything blends right into the bodywork around it. So quite pleased to do all levels of the work on these cars, and we'll show you some of the pieces that we do. Alright, this is Snickers, the shop dog. She lays around from a nice spot in the sun and keeps an eye on us, making sure that we're working hard all day, making cookie money. Go get them. This is my little machine shop. I've got an old Glausing lathe here, which is probably older than me and does fantastic tolerance work still. Pretty handy to have a lathe in the shop. I use it to do anything from aligning stuff that needs to be aligned to turning to boring. I just threaded a fill neck the other day for one of the big aluminum gas filler caps that we use on these Cobras. So pretty handy little machine shop for the onesie, twosie, one-off sort of work that I do. The other key piece of machinery for my machine shop, of course, is the vertical milling machine, or commonly known as a Bridgeport. This is a really versatile machine in that it's one of the only machines that's capable of making itself. So that kind of thing is, you know, it's nice to have it 3.5 hours away from where it was originally built in Bridgeport, Connecticut, making all kinds of neat pieces for us. We have seen the machine shop next door where we make some of these parts. We're now over here in the fabrication shop where we put a lot of these pieces together. We try and keep the sparks and the welding and that kind of thing away from finished paint jobs. Something like this was coincidentally enough just laying on the bench. I get material, a raw material or a bar stock in, and I'll turn that into the neat little pieces and parts for the car. This particular part gets connected to the rear suspension on the car, and then it has a rod going front and rear that connects to the frame of the car. This is a very clever design that I've adapted to the applications we use on the Cobra, and what happens now is the suspension can go up and down in the car, but it can't move forward and back and try and tear the suspension out of the car. There's a neat little video of this in action on my website, but that's a Watts linkage, and so that's a good example of it going from raw material to finished usable parts. Something else that we'll take a look at the parts we're building here, but piece by piece we take pieces of the frame for the car and we make them all one at a time on the milling machine and the lathe from tube stock and flat stock and bar stock, and eventually they all get pieced together, tacked together, fixtured up and put together to make a complete car, which we'll show you in a couple of minutes here. Examples are taking a cast suspension arm and building that into a tubular suspension arm. So we make a piece at a time, put them all together and put them in our fixtures to build them for alignment, and piece by piece we make a whole car. So piece by piece, very exacting, all to blueprints and measurements taken off original and real cars from the 1960s. We make enough pieces for these things, start putting them all together, and we can finish up with a whole car, which is what you're looking at here. This is the skeleton of the car. Things like the nice curves on the body lines are made in things like this machine here, which can roll the tubing to the desired radius. If we need something different for a radius, we can bend it in bending apparatus, bending machines. We can use very tight radius dies if we really want to do some small radius parts. In the background we've got a CNC plasma cutting table which makes parts in the flat, and we can bend them, make them to the shape, lay them out on the parts of the car, and as I say, piece by piece you've got a whole car. Alright, what we're looking at here is the interior of this gorgeous Shelby car. This has got the number on the assigned plaque that was issued with the car. This has got a lot of nice little touches to it. The period style instrumentation, the 16-inch wood-rimmed original motor leader steering wheel, another onboard fire extinguisher system for this car because we like to keep them out of harm's way. This one's got the old Lucas 104 rear view mirror and all kinds of nice little touches. You can see here this was signed by Carroll before he left us in 2012, and the little double dash on the bottom means it was signed by Carroll on his second heart. World's oldest living heart transplant recipient when he died. Well, we do all kinds of custom metal work here at Acton Custom, but you can see what kind of is our favorite. This is the Shelby Cobras. Now, after a tough day's work, the tough part is deciding which one to take for a ride. Well, we've got a red one over there, but they say it could be a arrest me red color. I'd say it's a girl's color. What about the blue and white one? Everyone's got blue and white ones. And that's got a hard top on it. It's too sunny for a hard top. I don't know, I think we'll go with the black one today. Test drive time.